What is up, guys? It is the Sports Sir Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report, part of In the Zone Sports Talk Radio, part of NGSC Sports. Guys, remember the website. It's NGSC Sports for all your current sports content. We are sponsored by Garrett's Carrots, designer jewelry and luxury accessories. Illuminate your inner self, shatter the trendy norms, and open up your world to a newfound level of confidence. Garrett's Carrots, designer jewelry and luxury accessories. We are also sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com, the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you and adding comfort to your life. Remember, guys, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. Happy Thursday, guys, as we're almost through another week. We're through almost the middle of the month of July, middle of the year already. And stuff like that. We guys will be doing a special theme show this evening. We are going to hop in the Walker Report time machine and head back to the 1970s. We've had some pretty good success with the 80s and 90s show. I think the next theme show we'll do will be the 2000s. That'll be in a couple weeks from now. But we are going to go back and jump back to the 70s this evening. And guys, if you want, head over to the In the Zone Sports Facebook page. There are a lot of other great shows, including my co-host Louis Tenamore. He has one on Saturday, and Gerald will be joining me momentarily. But there's a lot of good shows over there. So, guys, please go over there and check those shows out. If you're a fan of mine, you'll be a fan of theirs. They do a hell of a job over there as well. Let me go ahead, guys, and bring in my co-host this evening. How's it going, Lou?
All right, and welcome to that 70s podcast show. No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. Well, and wait a second. I don't see you in your shirt or your shoes you promised me.
Oh, I ran out. They're all worn out.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll be Ashton Kutcher in the role this evening. So for the 70s, and usually Tupper Grace is Eric, and
that's cool.
And Adam is gonna be the father, Red.
Fair enough.
He's gonna be Fez actually.
No, the baseball game was okay. I had to sit by myself. Not that fun to be sitting by yourself at a baseball game.
Which game was that?
The Red Sox Rays game last week. So yeah, not fun when you're sitting there by yourself, but it was okay. I mean, the Rays won. I didn't expect Boston to win because Shane McClanahan was on the mound, so I didn't expect the Rays to win the game or the Red Sox to win the game anyway. So it doesn't matter. But yes, that is how everything goes. There's Gerald. Good evening, sir. Hey,
we're not getting feedback today.
Yeah, no feedback. That's good.
I think we fixed it.
So like I said, guys, we'll probably end up doing a regular show next week, and then we'll do the 2000s the week after next. So the last week in July or the first week in August?
I like the last week in July. Then we can get back into your regularly scheduled program because the NFL will be coming back.
Yep. Yes. Training camp starts in, a week or two?
Week or two,
yep.
I know the Hall of Fame game is on August 4th.
August 4th, yeah, so we're a couple weeks away.
Better. Like it.
Finally back to normal. Finally back to some normalcy. And
yes. It's funny how everything kind of in the sports world revolves around football. It's interesting how, unless you're a diehard baseball or hockey fan, I am. When football comes back around,
Oh, well. As the sports world as the NFL turns, so does the sports world.
Yes. Correct.
At least the American sports world.
Right. Well, we are. The Open Championship is going on right now over in St. Andrews in Scotland. Unless you want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch it on ESPN, you have all the world to do that.
Well, normally at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm still up.
Yeah, I'm heading into work.
Yeah, I'm up.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go to work.
Woods is up to a horrible start. Yeah.
So the 1970s. Seems
Yes.
like a long time ago now.
For me, yes.
I wasn't even alive. I wasn't even a twinkle in anybody's eye.
I was.
I was born in '73, so I'm a '70s baby.
I was born in 92, so.
I wasn't even either. I was born in '83, so this came out.
Wow, Lou, you and I are the oldest ones here.
The older statesman here, yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So here are some tidbits, guys. The 9th edition of the FIBA World Cup was held
Wow.
this year in Mexico during the 1970s.
Mhm.
Jane Cotis won the French Open. Margaret Court won all 4 Grand Slam events to become the second woman ever to achieve the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
So, I remember talking about her on the Legacy Battle podcast. I was on there talking about her. Jack Nicklaus won the British Open for the second time for his 8th major win. Tiger Woods would achieve the same almost 3 decades later. So, about that. Now, if I'm pronouncing this name incorrectly, let me know. Yachin Reneded, RINDT, won 5 F1 races, winning the Drivers' Championship before a fatal accident during a practice run killed him. He had accumulated enough points in the season to become the only F1 driver ever to win the championship posthumously, meaning, I guess, post-death.
Posthumously. Yes, posthumous. It means after death. Yes.
Yep. Below is a timeline of significant results from the world sport of 1970. So, again, Australian Open won by Arthur Ashe and Margaret Court in January.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl was held in New Orleans and won by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
Billy Casper won the Masters. Yep.
If we can home in on that Super Bowl for just a hot second.
Sure.
I want to point something out about that Super Bowl, and not to take anything away from your Jets and 69 and talk about the guarantee, but the Kansas City Chiefs have to win that Super Bowl. They have to win that Super Bowl. Otherwise, 69 is a fluke, and the AFL goes away, and it's just the NFL.
Okay.
Change my mind. because Namath makes the guarantee in 69, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they win it all. They beat the Baltimore Colts and shock the world. But if the Vikings win in 70 and they beat the Chiefs, that cheapens the Jets Super Bowl win. That Super Bowl doesn't mean anything. It's a fluke. The AFL isn't for real. But with the Chiefs winning Super Bowl IV in 1970, it cements the AFL as a legitimate football conference and paves the way for football as we know it.
Yes.
The Jets ran so the Chiefs could walk. Or the Jets walked so the Chiefs could run.
And so sets up the merger.
And sets up the merger.
Correct.
It reaffirms in the minds of the NFL owners that the AFL is legitimate.
And they're probably thinking, okay, you win. Fine, we'll keep the AFL. We'll just merge it like that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you fooled us all. Okay, you're a legit conference. I thought you guys were just a joke.
Mm-hmm. That's
who looks ridiculous now, people?
That's exactly how I see it. I see if the Kansas City Chiefs lose that Super Bowl, and the Vikings win it, the AFL NFL isn't what we know it is today.
Right, it'd be up Shit's Creek.
It would be just the NFL. There would have been there would only be I don't know how many teams. I don't know what it would be. It's a whole nother world.
Yes. Another world.
That it is. Tony Jacklin won the U.S. Open in golf. The Commonwealth Games were held in Edinburgh, Scotland. The World Series was won by the Baltimore Orioles.
Once upon a time when they were good.
Isn't that their last?
83.
The last
83, okay.
83.
Let me see what else I got here, guys. There's some iconic moments defined by the 70s. Let me see. exactly what this is here.
Uh-oh.
Wasn't the 70s the first decade that the Yankees didn't win a title?
Wrong. That was
No?
the 80s. 80s.
Okay.
Although they had
the
a
19
chance.
Right. The 1970 World Cup in soccer was won by Brazil, led by maybe you know this guy, Pele?
Never heard
Maybe
of
all
it.
kinda know. Never heard of him before?
Seems
Never.
vaguely familiar.
Some consider the 1970 Brazil team the best ever.
Yes.
They won each of their quarterfinal, semifinal, and final matchups by 2 goals or more. Wow, I did not know that. That is something new. I did not know.
And also another important one back in 1970. And let's see if you guys can guess what it is, though.
Okay.
Try to guess.
Say it again.
Say it again, Lou.
1970 is also another important milestone. See if you can guess what it was.
There, I can think
You were
of a lot.
born.
Huh?
You were born.
He got it. I know you guys are going to think of something else, but Gerald got it right. Of course, Gerald. Gerald. Of course. Edwin said the last time you took out the trash, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Remember your my birthday. My birthday thing, and you made a joke out of that. Yeah.
Y'all just remember, October 20th is my birthday. So if y'all don't see me that day, don't worry, I'm still alive.
Okay.
We'll send a car. He'll be all right.
Yes.
We'll send a black and white to knock on your door. Make sure you're all right.
Listen,
Hey, I can't get those Victoria's Secret models. So
You can't.
Be careful. Be careful. He's got a missus back there. Be
Hey,
careful.
that's right.
Be careful.
Adam, my wife would kill me, then she'd come looking for you.
And then she kill us.
I'm sending you to you.
Then she kill us.
hey, I said I couldn't get them. So you're in the clear.
Oh boy.
Now, if you could send me a couple of classic cars, like a Camaro and a 68 Camaro and a 68 Chevy pickup, that'd be cool. I
I'll
take
buy
the
that.
vehicles.
I just want views. That's all I want for my birthday.
The phrase "There goes the man" was a catchphrase by broadcaster Mark Jackson when he was calling the 1970 NBA Finals
Yep.
between the Knicks and the Lakers. A hobbled Willis Reed emerged from the locker room to return to the floor after missing Game 6 with a torn thigh muscle. Reed inspired the Knicks to a 113-99 victory in their first NBA championship.
Yeah.
Torn ligament. Oh,
Yep.
that's gutsy right there.
Pete Rose runs into Ray Fosse in the All-Star game.
Yeah. And that had
5-4, separated his shoulder. Yep.
Oof.
There you go. Adam, you were just talking about that. The AFL-NFL merger, beginning with the 1970 season, 10 teams from the American Football League entered the NFL.
Yep.
2 13-team conferences were created within the new NFL, the American Football Conference and National Football Conference, which is what we have today. An 18 playoff featuring 4 teams from each conference was brought to thing. Talking about Margaret Court winning all 4 majors. This is the year, the decade in which we had the tragedy that killed the Marshall football players. 37,
Yes.
8 coaches died in a plane crash. If you guys, I mean, no offense, and I'm not trying to plug a movie or anything, but We Are Marshall is a very, very good movie about this situation, about what happened in that plane crash and how they brought the program back to where it is now. The Thundering Herd, as they are called in Marshall.
Yes.
It's a very, very good movie with, of course, Matthew McConaughey plays the coach.
Very good movie.
It's a very good movie. If you want to see it, if you're into football movies, that would be one that I would definitely catch. Of course, Marshall, some of the great players that have played there, Chad Pennington, Randy Moss, were just 2 of the great players that have played at Marshall. This in 1972, Title IX became
Mm.
law. So that is big now. Actually, I think they're talking about that as we speak.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the 50th anniversary
Title
a
IX.
couple weeks ago. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Spitz won 7 gold medals and set 7
Olympics,
world
very
records
soon.
in the Summer Games in Munich.
Oh yeah, and the Munich. Was it?
Yeah, in Germany. Yep.
That was 72. That would have been the.
That was the same year, and I think Lewis has mentioned this a bunch of times. That's the year the Israel team got killed, taken hostage.
Yes.
11 Israeli soldiers killed, and then
I
Jimmy
think there
Case
was-
stood up at the over the broadcast.
Can someone tell me who Have a Great Show is? Is that Rich or who is it? Someone has. I see a Facebook user says Have a Great Show.
Huh.
Probably Rich.
Yeah. And then Jim McKay over the broadcast said they're all gone.
Yeah, that I remember watching their documentary, Lewis, about that, or
Yeah. And this
30
year's the 50th, and this year's the 50th year on September 5th.
of that scenario.
Yeah.
So who took them hostage? Was it?
It was his Palestinians.
Palestinians took them hostage?
Yes.
Black September.
And killed all of them? Was it how many of them died?
11 were killed.
Wow. So 11 athletes lost their lives because of where they came from.
Right. So this is the 50th year, and that's on September 5th.
6 coaches, 5 players, 1 West German police officer.
Right.
Wow.
Okay, I didn't get what the Western. So it was 11 Israeli athletes, but that's how it happened.
No, the Have a Good Show was Kevin. Okay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kev. Some more stuff, guys, here. Of course, a Cold War controversy. Obviously, the 1972 men's basketball team pitted the U.S. against the Soviet Union. In the final moments, the U.S. led 50-40 on a controversial timeout call. Soviets got the layup to win and beat the U.S. Still to this day,
We got robbed.
the United States still is not accepting the silver medals from that Olympics.
I don't blame them.
Still to this day, they have not accepted the silver medals from that Olympics.
I don't blame because we got cheated.
The NFL faces new competition. The World Hockey Association began playing in 1972.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Hall was one of the first major stars to jump from the NHL, the WHA. In 1979, a merger was formed, and the 4 WH teams continued on in the NHL, including the Oilers, who would soon win 5 Stanley Cups.
Forward Gretzky.
We
Five.
lost.
Yep.
We lost a big
I think he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Mark Messier, Paul Coffey, just to name a few.
Yari Curry.
Yari Curry.
Yari Curry.
And who was their goaltender?
They were all pretty good.
Grant Fuhr.
Here.
Grant Fuhr was their goaltender. Yeah. We lost a huge baseball star in 1972 on New Year's Eve. Roberto Clemente passed away.
Yeah.
Heading to Nicaragua with earthquake supplies on his plane, carrying him crashed. Clemente, who had just wrapped up his season with the Pirates, where he collected his 3,000th career hit, was only 38 years old. Today, Major League Baseball gives Roberto Clemente annually to a player who exemplifies Clemente's spirit, community treaty. I also heard, guys, too, they're going to retire his number 21, or no one can wear that number anymore. So I'm waiting. They did a movie about Jackie Robinson, 42, which we saw. Chad Boseman, rest in peace, Black Panther. He was the guy that played Jackie Robinson in that movie.
Yeah.
I would like to see a Roberto Clemente movie. I really would.
Yeah.
Honesty, I'm
you
really.
do one about Babe Ruth. You do about Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
Mickey
Mantle. Why can't you do one about Roberto Clemente
or Thurman Munson?
Or Thurman Munson as another one.
Who also died in a plane crash.
And the cool thing about him is they still have his locker in Yankee Stadium, just the way he left the locker. That's so cool how they haven't moved anything out of that locker. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. The Dolphins achieved perfection. The 1975 Dolphins went 14-0, guided by the
19.
no-name defense. Is that year? The DH era began in 1973. The American League allowed teams to use a DH, which is now a league-wide thing.
Yep, and it's about time.
Exactly.
I hate pitchers batting. Guy 1 for 32 over the last 3 years.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, when there were only 80 guys available to play baseball, I understand. But now we're so far removed from the time when there was only, 80 guys in a city that were at major league quality and everybody had to do everything.
You mean like when there's only like 9 or 10 teams in the league, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there were and there weren't 300 minor league baseball teams in the country.
Right.
And we're so far removed from pitchers batting, and once you leave T-ball and you get into minor league baseball, not minor league, but youth baseball, and you start you got people playing first base, people playing second base, people playing third, short, and everybody starts to get their positions, and pitchers are just pitching now. When pitchers stop batting, especially as you get into high school and college, where pitchers don't bat,
Right.
where it's just a wasted at bat.
Well, there are still some traditional baseball fans that want to see the National League make the pitcher hit. I mean, I agree with you. I think the DH or league wide, I think, is a great idea because you're right. It doesn't, you don't have a guy who doesn't hit, but once a week, in a way, every 5 starts he gets to hit. And like you said, he's 1 for 300 in his career. He has to get a hit. Everybody gets excited when a pitcher actually does get a hit or a home run. Secretary and Scampers to Success. He won the Triple Crown. In 25 years. He won the Triple Crown. I think he won it by a wide margin too, if I'm not mistaken. The Battle of the Sexes tennis match between Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King took place in 1973 in front of an estimated 90 million television viewers. King defeated Riggs at the Houston Astrodome.
Yeah, so no is not my lover. Oh, no.
At the Houston Astrodome that no longer exists. That's interesting. UCLA's reign momentarily ends.
In basketball,
North Carolina State, led by David Thompson, upset the Bruins 80-77 in double overtime. NC State won the title, but UCLA would not be down for long. They captured the 1975 national championship. A young man by the name of Hank Aaron becomes the home run king.
He was a pretty good one.
1974.
1974, he hit career home run number 715. Ended his career with 755. Record that stood until 2007. Now Barry Bonds is the leader. Now, one of my things that if I to go back in time before I was born, this would be my second stop. The Rumble in the Jungle, 1974, between Foreman and Ali, took place.
Great fight. Great fight.
Yeah.
That was the whole rope-a-dope thing. Foreman was the more aggressive fighter, as we all know. Ali laid against the ropes and let him pound him and tired himself out, and then Ali caught him in the later rounds, and the rest is history. That was also the time that Ali got his title back after it was taken away from him for religious beliefs because he wouldn't go fight in Vietnam. He refused to go fight in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Put him in jail for it.
Yep.
Was it necessary?
Carlton Fisk waves at a fair. Game 6 of 1975 World Series. Carlton Fisk hit a walk-off home run in the 12th inning. Fisk hit a high fly ball towards the left field wall. Waved his arms to the right, hoping the ball would stay fair. It did. The Red Sox dropped Game 7, losing the World Series.
The Big Red Machine.
In 1976, the ABA ended. That was the last of the ABA as the NBA became what it is now. The Summer Olympics in Montreal in 1976. Nadia Karsimine became the first Olympic woman to be awarded a perfect 10 score on both the uneven bars and balance beam. She went on to win 3 gold medals in 1976, added 2 more at the 1980 games. An American decathlon hero was born. Somebody by the name of, well, it says Kathleen Jenner, but we all know Bruce Jenner was that. But yes, let's see here.
The artist formerly known as Bruce Jenner.
Yeah.
Yep. Seattle Sioux follows in Secretarian's horseshoes. Sioux entered the 1997 Kentucky Derby without having ever lost a race, and by the end of the Belmont Stakes, the perfect record was still intact. Sioux became the first undefeated thoroughbred to win the Triple Crown. That happened in 1977. The legend of Mr. October, 1977 World Series. In Game 6, Jackson hit 3 home runs, keying the New York Yankees' 8-4 clinching victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Overall, Jackson hit 5 home runs in the series and earned Most Valuable Player. How would he not win Most Valuable
Deservedly
Player?
so.
I know, right?
Although the 76 ALCS championship was also a dramatic moment as well.
Mm-hmm.
Score is tied, and we're going to the bottom of the 9th. And on the first pitch of that 9th inning, Chris Chambliss has a rocket out to left field and wins the ALCS 4-3, and the crowd just went absolutely berserk. 27 years later, Aaron Boone does the same thing.
That was a
Boone
What a
did against
hit.
the Red Sox off Tim Wakefield.
That's
I remember
right.
that.
But 27 years before that was that moment. And a little 6-year-old boy goes absolutely nuts.
For the second straight year, a thoroughbred won the racing Triple Crown in 1978. Affirmed followed Seattle Sioux and Secretariat to become the third horse during the 1970s to take the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Belmont. Affirmed would be the last horse to win all 3. So American Pharoah copied defeat just 7 years ago in 2015. And maybe you know these two. Maybe these two basketball players will come to be Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
I wonder whatever happened to those guys.
1979 title game between Indiana State took on Michigan State. And I think the rest is history because they became rivals in the NBA with the Celtics and Lakers.
I wonder whatever happened to those guys. They turn out to be anything?
I don't know.
Pretty good, right?
I forget.
How many titles between the two of them? How many championships did those two win combined? 8 titles? Did they each win 4? Or did one win 5?
I think Magic won 5.
Yeah.
Didn't the Lakers win 5 in the 80s?
5. Yes.
5 titles? Okay.
I think Bird
That
won
was the
3.
Showtime era.
The ballpark promotion Disco Demolition Night went
Ah!
no.
1979. The Chicago White Sox advertised they would blow up a crate of disco records in between games of the doubleheader
Yep.
against the Tigers at Kaminsky Park.
And bring
The
in
aftermath of the explosion and damage induced by the ensuing rush of fans on the field caused a cancellation and forfeit of the second game.
which also bring new meaning to the term "burn, baby, burn."
And hey, Lou, you mentioned Thurman Munson. He passed away on August 2nd, 1979.
I remember that very well.
Munson, at 32 years of age, his number 15 is retired by the New York Yankees.
Completely
that-
devastating moment
Yep.
when that happened. Completely
Tracy,
devastating.
Tracy Austin, turning pro, was the youngest U.S. Open winner in tennis at 16 years, 9 months.
Wow.
She became the youngest champion ever. Austin never won another Grand Slam as a singles competitor, but did capture a mixed double title in Wimbledon in 1980.
You peaked too early, kid.
There you go. A pirate family. The 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates were identified by their usage of Sister Sledge disco hit "We Are the Family." The song became a rallying cry through the season as the Pirates went on to win the World Series, topping the Baltimore Orioles in 7 games. The leader of the baseball family, of course, was Willie Stargell, also known as Pops.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Willie Stargell was one of the good players too that you don't ever get to. That's another good player that we don't ever talk about either, unless you're a Pirates fan.
Rest his
unless you're a
soul.
Pirates fan. Yeah. Okay, so this guy's is. Yeah, we're gonna kind of go back. I'm trying not to repeat anything that we've
Well, we haven't
already.
talked about the fight
Which one?
Which one?
in '79.
Go ahead.
Gerald should know what I'm talking about.
The what?
It's the fight. '79. It's a perfect storm. Just February 18th, 1979.
I think I know.
I don't remember.
You want to give it a guess, Lou?
No, just in case if I'm wrong, go ahead.
Okay, so it was February 18th, 1979, and the East Coast was snowed in.
Right.
And there was only one thing on television. The first time that the Daytona 500 was broadcast flag to flag live.
Yes.
It's a 79. And it's Cale and Bobby Allison.
Oh, I remember now.
Right.
Yeah. And it was Richard. Yeah, because it was Cale. It was Cale and Bobby, or Davey. It's Bobby. And they got together on the backstretch. And wanted them.
They pulled their cars off the backstretch.
Yeah.
Got out
Yep.
and started fighting.
And Cale pulls up. It was I know Cale was there. I know one of the Allisons was there, but I forget who the other one was. 1979. Yeah, let me look it up real quick. A most important race.
My God.
Donnie Allison. It was Donnie.
Right.
It was Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison pulls up. And they all went to fighting. And Richard won the race. I want to watch the fight.
What's the fight?
Yeah, I want to say CBS got 10 million calls. They do this every week. I want to watch more of this. That was great.
I thought it was on ABC.
Pretty sure it was CBS.
CBS did Daytona. Oh, Daytona. I'm sorry. That was CBS. Yes. Because Fox wasn't invented yet.
No, they wouldn't be invented for another 20 years. Or 10. Yeah, 10.
7 to 10. Put it that way.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry.
Major champions in the 1970s. We'll start with 1970 itself. Pro baseball was the Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks won in the NBA. UCLA won the college basketball that year. The heavyweight boxing champion was Jimmy Ellis. Pro football was the then Baltimore Colts. College football was between Texas and Nebraska. 1971, the World Series champions were the Pirates. Pro basketball was the Bucks. College basketball was UCLA. Boxing heavyweight champion Joe Frazier. I wonder what happened to Joe Frazier.
Don't want to talk about Frazier. Don't want to talk about Frazier.
Pro
Down
football,
goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
the Dallas Cowboys were the NFL champions. Nebraska won in college football. In 1972, it was the Oakland A's. The Lakers, the Bruins again. Joe Frazier was still the heavyweight champion. Miami, that was their perfect season. And USC was the college football champion. Pro baseball, the A's won again, back-to-back years, 72-73. The Knicks won their second NBA championship.
Yep.
UCLA again. This time, as you were talking about, down goes Frazier. George Foreman won the title that year. The Dolphins won again in 73. And Notre Dame and Alabama shared the national championship.
Yeah.
74, the A's won again in baseball, 3 years in a row. The Celtics won in basketball. North Carolina State dethroned UCLA. Muhammad Ali was the heavyweight champion. The Steelers were the NFL title champion, and the national championship in college football was shared by Oklahoma and USC. 75, it was the Cincinnati Reds. The Golden State Warriors in basketball. UCLA again. Muhammad Ali still had it. The Steelers went back-to-back in Super Bowls. Oklahoma went back-to-back in college football. In 76, the Reds won again. Celtics. Indiana was the top team in college basketball. Muhammad Ali again held the title. The Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, won the Super Bowl that year. And then college football was the Pittsburgh Panthers. Was that Marino? Did he win a national championship with the Panthers?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that was Marino's year.
Once upon a time when Pittsburgh was good.
77, the Yankees won the World Series. Portland won the basketball championship. Marquette
We won.
basketball. Muhammad Ali still was the heavyweight champion. Dallas won another Super Bowl in 77, and Notre Dame was the national champions. 1978, the Yankees won again. The Bullets won in pro basketball, which I know, aren't they called the Wizards now?
Now the Washington Wizards, yes.
Wizards, yep. Kentucky won the college basketball. Leon Spinks is the heavyweight champion.
Michael's better.
Pittsburgh again won another Super Bowl, and Alabama and USC shared the national championship. And to close out the decade, the Pirates won another World Series. Seattle, the Supersonics, won in basketball. Michigan State won in college basketball. Larry Holmes became the heavyweight champion of the year. Pittsburgh won again, and Alabama won the national championship in that.
The 1970s were a great decade for boxing.
Yeah.
Yes. It was.
I remember watching all those old 70s fights one night on ESPN Classic.
How about this? January 26, 1970, NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle announces a 4-year, $142 million contract with 3 major television networks to broadcast professional football games.
NBC, CBS, and ABC.
You see
Correct.
And NBC and CBS didn't want Monday Night Football.
Shame on you.
Well, they already had successful programs on Monday night,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to give up that prime slot. And ABC was like, "We don't have anything. We'll take it."
Yeah.
And CBS and NBC were like, "All right, whatever." And everybody did pretty well with it.
Yeah, I think CBS and NBC are probably saying, "Nah, it'll never work on Monday nights." They watch.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
They weren't convinced. They didn't want to give up successful slot. Monday night, the 9 p.m. slot was a prime slot, and they didn't want to give that up for football
Yeah.
because
Well, they didn't probably think it would even work.
They didn't think they didn't think it would work. There was no precedent for Monday Night Football at the time.
Right.
And so it's when ABC came in and took that slot because ABC didn't have any programming on Monday night.
Nothing good anyway.
Yeah, they didn't have anything good.
Who's got a storm warning?
No, it's an Amber Alert.
Oh, great.
August 12, 1970, a case was brought by Philadelphia Phillies outfielder Curt Flood to federal court judge Ben Cooper that the 1922 U.S. Supreme Court decision finding the organized baseball does not violate antitrust laws and still binding. Again, that started free agency in baseball in the 1970s. Muhammad Ali knocks out Jerry Quarry in 3 rounds in his first fight since his license to box was revoked in 1967 due to him not going to Vietnam. He was, of course, put in jail. Jack Nicklaus becomes the first golfer to win the PGA Championship twice. I'm sorry, my fault. Maybe I'm wrong. Professional baseball player Curt Flood, who tested baseball's reserve clause, announces his retirement. I thought that resulted in free agency. Wasn't he complaining that he couldn't move on to a different team or something like that?
Well, 72, I think, is when that all began because that was the first labor strike.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, there you go. Okay, yep. I think I'm reading that right there. Let's see here. Yeah, there it goes. September 5th, 1972, Arab terrorists killed two Israeli athletes and kidnapped 9 others. Summer games. The games were suspended 2 days later after the terrorist attack. Let's see. Baseball owners and players signed a 3-year contract agreeing to submit salary disputes to binding arbitration. February 25th of 73. Did not know that. Okay. Frank Robinson is named the manager of the Cleveland Indians, becoming the first African American manager in Major League Baseball on October 3rd, 1974. October 30th, 1974, Muhammad Ali knocks out George Foreman in the 8th round to regain the heavyweight boxing championship. Arthur Ashe defeats Jimmy Connors to win the Wimbledon men's singles championship, becoming the first African American to do so. The NBA accepts 6 teams in the ABA. An merger recommended by a federal judge to settle the antitrust litigation on June 17th, 1976. August 27, 1976, Renee Richards, a transsexual, is barred from competition in the U.S. Open tennis tournament. Did not know that. Your girl, Lou. September 10, 1977. Chris Evert wins her 3rd straight U.S. Open women's tennis championship.
Nice going, Chrissy.
The NFL, there you go right there. The NFL games. All right, so the NFL signs an agreement with 3 major networks for the rights in exchange for $576 million to $656 million. So that's what it was. That's what the NFL got back in that day. June 18, 1978, first-year professional golfer Nancy Lopez breaks the LPGA record for consecutive wins, accumulating a record earnings for a rookie of $153,336. Interesting. Yeah. That's pocket change for golfers today.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He's a baseball player.
Pete Rose, a free agent from professional basketball draft, signs a $3.2 million contract with the Phillies, making him baseball's highest paid player.
Yeah.
Did not know that. The National Hockey League and the WHL merged. The Montreal Canadiens win their 3rd consecutive Stanley Cup championship. There is all the stuff.
They were pretty good in the 70s, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Yeah, they were. Is there anything that you guys wanted to touch on in the 70s? Again, I wasn't. I was born in '83, so this was my time.
Nolan Ryan becomes the first millionaire in baseball in 1979.
Yes, he does.
Can somebody please tell me why he never won a Cy Young? You know he's never won a Cy Young? He never won a Cy Young in his career.
That is very strange.
That's preposterous. Let me just say that.
Doesn't no hitters and not even got a Cy Young. What are you people?
Never won a Cy Young. Look at he came close. I don't know what year he came close in, but yeah.
Just didn't make a lot of sense.
How
do you not give someone 7 no hitters and not one MVP and not one, Cy Young?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that, Lou. I saw a YouTube clip not too long ago about that, and I'm like, how in the world did Nolan Ryan never win a Cy Young?
Unreal.
Is Nolan Ryan, is he still in the front office with Houston?
I believe he is.
Is he? He was what was he like? He was head of baseball operations, wasn't he, for them?
Mm-hmm.
He was president and CEO from 2008 to 2013 in New York or in Texas with the Rangers, and then he was a special assistant in Houston until 2019.
Yeah.
He left before the 2020 season, probably due to the scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, sports were so different back in the 70s. You know,
Oh, it's
the
certainly-
the 70s are, you know, well, ESPN becomes a thing in 78?
79.
79, okay.
Yep, September 6, 1979.
Right, and that's the beginning of, that's when sports becomes what we know sports as today.
Yes.
That's with 24-hour sports coverage and having, and that's when all-star games were great. When you didn't have wall-to-wall 24-hour sports media and you couldn't watch, you know, if you really want to,
Mhm.
if you want to sit down and watch all 800 baseball games in a year,
Yeah.
if you can stomach 4,000 hours of baseball, you can watch every baseball game.
Right.
You know, if you want to watch every football game, it's on every, you know, not ESPN, NFL Network runs replays. They have the 60-minute condensed games
Yeah.
every day during the
ESPN changed the way we do sports. I mean, then you got ESPN. Then came ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPNW, X, Y, Z, and everything else.
well, you don't forget the Ocho, ESPN 8.
Yeah.
No, you know, and you know, not baseball, but sports becomes big business in the 70s.
Yes.
That's when the culture begins to shift in sports, and the whole idea of playing your career, you know, free agency becomes a thing in the 70s, and guys wanting to get out from situations that they don't like, and chasing rings and money becomes. You have the ability, you know.
Well, chasing the money though.
Well, just as much chasing money as it is, you guys who get paid, who never won a ring, who want to go sign somewhere and win a ring. You start
Yeah.
to see that in the I mean, that's really much more 80s and 90s when guys like Deion Sanders signing with the Cowboys to go win a ring
Yes.
in '95. You know,
Yeah.
that you know, I know that, but it all stems from the 70s and the 80s, and you know, the 70s really I think This Week in Baseball started in the 70s.
It started in 75.
That show's still
77.
on, right? Is it on MLB Network?
No,
No.
it went off the air in 2008 or something like that.
During the Fox era.
hmm I remember This Week in Baseball.
Now owned by the Disney Corporation, right?
No,
No.
Disney only bought 20th Century Fox. They only bought the movie arm of Fox.
Right.
To have the rights to Spider-Man and all the Marvel
The X-Men.
characters, Fox, and the X-Men. The Fox still owns
The Fox.
Okay.
Spider-Man is owned by Sony. And the X-Men, Fantastic Four, a couple other properties. Moon Knight was owned by Silver Surfer. That was all owned by Fox.
Yes.
Because Marvel was in a bad way in the 90s, and they sold off all those properties so they can stay afloat.
How is that TV series?
Moon Knight was great.
Moon
Moon
Knight.
Knight
I've heard one person say that it was horrible, but I've heard other people say it was great.
I loved it.
My roommate, who's at a cosplay convention, loved it. Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and that's when you see, you know, when you start to see, you know, the shift towards the NFL is in the 70s,
Yes.
where baseball's popularity begins to wane. Boxing is still very popular. You still have the old big three: boxing, horse racing, and baseball. And in the 70s, you see a paradigm shift where it becomes basketball and football begin to take over.
Mm-hmm.
And that would and football would I really think what makes football so popular is your team gets one game a week.
Yes.
So if you want to see your team play, you get one chance to see them play. And I think that's the big problem with the other three major sports is that there's so much sports on during the season that if you miss 3 games, And the other thing is in the 70s, like if you didn't watch the game, whether I think what was it, WPIX in New York,
Yep. Mhm.
If you missed the game in 73, you didn't get a chance to watch it again. You just missed it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You didn't, and they didn't televise every game either.
Right, and they didn't, and there were no replays. There was no staying.
Nope.
It wasn't going to be on again at 2:00 in the morning.
No.
If you missed the game, if you didn't get a chance, if you worked nights or you were out, you missed the game. So if you
If you're
missed,
making love with somebody, like, okay.
right, if you missed the game, you missed the game. So the only way to find out what happened would be to read the newspaper the next day,
Right.
and that that's when you see the rise of sports broadcasting, sports
Yes.
talk radio
Mhm.
is in the 70s.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of
Midway for us.
I know, right? I mean,
Thanks, guys.
and that's what that's what inspires me to want to do this week in and week out.
Yeah.
Is the fact is listening is those guys that paved the way for us.
Mhm.
And like we had Jim Brandstainer on the show. He got his start in local television in the 70s when he left when he graduated, and we owe a great deal of debt to those guys that paved the way. Like I can see his name, but I can't remember. Jimmy the Greek. That's
I was gonna say Brett Musburger, but okay.
I was thinking sports talk guys.
Well, he did anchor NFL today.
Did Musburger have a show?
Well, he anchored NFL today.
And the rise of pregame.
Yes.
And that's when I stopped watching pregame here over the last couple of years because I watched so much during the week anyway. I don't need a 3-hour pregame show. I don't need 3 hours of pregame. You have an hour on Fox, you have an hour on you have 2 hours on Fox, an hour on CBS, and I watch so much anyway. During the rest of the week I watch NFL Network that I don't need to tune in to CBS.
Well, I do gotta turn on the ESPN one on Sundays for one particular reason.
Come on, man.
You know who it is.
Well, when Berman was still there.
No, it's somebody else on ESPN does a Sunday countdown and can't resist. You guys know who it is.
She's married to or former to. Is she married to a former NFL player?
Yes.
I'm not going to be able to come up with the name offhand.
Samantha Ponder.
She's married to Christian Ponder.
Yeah. I'm like,
down, boy, down. down.
She's on ESPN, is she not, Lou? She's
yeah.
on ESPN.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, like that was the big thing in the 70s, was the rise of sports media.
Yes.
we wouldn't be doing what we do without ESPN and the rise of sports talk radio. AM
Right.
sports talk radio. ESPN.
Although some of them more vicious though than others.
Right.
But the media can count anybody,
Well, and the rise of sports media in general.
Yes.
With newspapers, the newspaper columns become even more sensationalized in the 70s, where everyone's chasing a headline. Somebody's got a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
How about the voices of baseball, like Ernie Harwell and Vince Scully, guys like that? Red Barber. Was Red Barber still around in the 70s, or was he gone by then?
I think he was gone.
He's gone.
Well, Harry Carey.
Harry Carey.
Another
one. Yeah, Harry Carey. Yep.
And then, of course, his son and his grandson took over. I can't stand his grandson though. Ugh.
I couldn't stand.
How
Harry
about Joe
Carey.
Buck? Where did Buck come in the 80s?
Jack.
I'm sorry, Jack Buck. My fault. My apologies.
Yeah.
Jack Buck. Was he in the 80s or was he in the 70s?
Jack was around since the 50s.
Yeah, and Jack Buck's always been there. Yeah,
Jack called one of the greatest home runs you'll ever see.
Which one was that?
I don't believe what I just saw. I don't believe what I just saw. Game 1, Dodgers, Giants.
That was 51, wasn't it?
No, it was 88.
I was going to say 88. That was the Kurt Gibson.
I thought that was Vin Scully.
Television broadcast, but Buck did radio.
Oh, okay. Ernie Harwell was the TV guy for the 51. When was the shot heard around the world? That was 51,
51.
right?
51.
And that was the Brooklyn Dodgers
And the Giants.
and the Giants, and he was the TV
Giants
guy
won
for
the
the,
pennant.
and he was the Brooklyn TV guy,
Yeah.
and he threw it to commercial, and it's a long fly ball. It's gonna be a home run, and now our spot, I think it was Redmond or something like that. There's a clip of it on YouTube, him talking about it. He was the Giants TV guy, or the losing team. I can never remember which one.
Well, the Giants won that one, and Brooklyn lost.
So he was the Brooklyn,
Off of
he was the
Sandy
Brooklyn TV guy.
Koufax, right?
Mm.
Off of Sandy Koufax. It was the Sandy
He was a
Koufax
good one.
pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Koufax. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant.
Yeah.
But in the 70s, of course, Howard Cosell became a household name, too.
Mm-hmm.
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 Speaking of Muhammad Ali,
Yep.
those two made drama. What?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the year that him and Joe Frazier fought on air? Ali and Frazier fought on
Yeah.
air?
Yes.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
ABC.
they did not
wasn't it?
like each other.
I think it was on ABC. On
It
on a
was.
live
I think I saw that fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They did
And
not
then-
like each other.
And they still don't.
Mm.
Well, they still don't. You know, even
Well-
after even
Both
before
of
Ali
them-
passed away,
both of them passed away. So yeah.
they still didn't really like each other. In fact, they're probably fighting in the grave right now too.
Right.
Yeah. This is my tombstone. No, this is my tombstone. Yeah,
Smoking Joe.
yeah.
I
Philadelphia.
didn't realize he's been
Philadelphia.
gone for 10 years now.
He passed away before Ali, right?
Yeah.
think
Yeah, he
he's
passed
the
away in
best
2011.
Yeah.
Joe was Joe was an aggressive style boxer.
Oh,
Mhm.
sure.
He at you with jabs and
Pick- so.
and then
He was going to beat you down.
yes.
He had so much
Yeah,
power.
He beat Ali in their first fight. Their first fight he did.
The first boxer to defeat Ali.
Yep. And
Yeah,
and then-
I gotta go lay down. I'm sitting here falling asleep.
Okay,
no
have a good
problem.
night.
Charles, go get some rest,
All right.
but no problem. No worries.
Take her easy, bud. We'll talk
Yep.
to you later.
Yeah.
Feel better.
No, I mean, and just the development of sports, and just that's when athletes become like we were talking about on Gerald's show a little bit ago. You're talking about professional athletes. That's when they start caring about their bodies and being in shape and having money. I think that's the biggest thing is that, I'll harp on this until I'm dead, but the 70s created, the money era of sports
Yeah.
where athletes don't have to be full-time guys, where they don't have to have a summer job just to make ends meet.
No.
Oh,
Gerald was telling me, sorry guys, I was actually on the phone talking with him via Messenger. Something about his show sucked or something, and
somebody told him his show sucked, but I had a great
What?
time.
and I'm not gonna name the person, but he messaged me earlier in the week and told me that he wasn't gonna do it this week. He needed to take a rest. I'm like, dude, we take a week off every once in a while.
Whenever we need one.
It benefits us to take the week off
Yeah,
to give us a chance to refresh and rest.
yeah.
and
We've, ta-
stuff like that. So,
we've
yeah.
taken fewer off this year, which I'm enjoying. I don't know about
Yes.
you guys, but I'm enjoying doing this pretty much. But we've taken a couple weeks off here and there where,
Yeah, if we need to.
if Brad wasn't going to be here, we'll take the week off. I'm not,
Yeah.
if you need to take a week off, take a week off.
If you
Because he
need
was
Well,
messaging.
The only time that I know that I'm going to be off, guys, will be in October. I'm on vacation.
Right.
Other
Right.
than that, and I'll let you know, obviously,
Right.
if I'm not feeling
Right.
well or if I'm having,
Yeah.
we all are having internet issues.
We
But
had a couple.
like I said, I know this. I know Gerald Show does not suck. I've been on
No,
there.
not at
No,
all.
it doesn't suck. I don't know
Over
who the
the
hell
past
said that, but
week.
they,
Stevie would say that. Then again,
So
probably for the
over
same
the
thing
past
about my
couple
show
weeks,
too.
you know, he was telling me that he goes, I'm falling asleep. I go, dude, just go get some sleep, man. You know, it's
yeah,
okay.
take a break. Yeah,
You
we're
know,
good.
we love having you on here, but if you need a rest,
Yeah, we don't need you
Right.
here if you're not going to be able to. If you're not going to be able to contribute, then what's the point of even being here? Go to bed. Yeah, it's no
Get
big
some rest.
deal.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
it's
look
not
at
like
me,
this
guys.
is your. You know, this is.
Well, look at
Yeah.
me. The first time that we did this show, the 80s show, my back was killing me. I had to use the restroom.
Yeah,
2
when
or
we tried to
3
throw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
You know that you know.
And-
So
And you know, some of it, you know, some shows aren't going to be as good as others. It's just the nature of the beast. You know, and he's only done 19 shows. It took us a good year and a half of doing this before we fell into a routine and we had a rhythm and we were
Took me 3
confident
years.
and confident. Yeah. Well, I just meant our show, you know, it took a couple of format changes to figure out what was going to work for us, and
Same with me.
yeah.
and I told him, I said, as soon as you get haters, you know you're doing your job right.
That's what Dale Senior told Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon, for the first time in his career, like 95 or 96, he started getting boos, and you know, and he was like, he was asking Dale about it, and Dale was like, you know, don't get excited when they cheer, don't get down when they boo. You need to start worrying when they don't say anything.
Yes.
Right.
That's when you need it. When they don't say, you know, if they're hating on you, then you're doing something. You may not be doing it right, but you're at least doing something.
They'll
You know,
let you know.
They'll let, and if they're cheering you, then keep doing what you're doing. You know, if they say it sucked, well, ask them. Okay, what do you think sucked about it? And you know, is it me? Am I the one that sucks?
Am
Is it
I
my
the one-
attitude?
Well, I was always told this too, that if people make fun of you when they stop talking to you, that's when you need to worry about it.
Yep.
Right.
Let them gag at you and, you know, call you names or whatever. That just tells you that they love you. But then when they stop talking to you, that's when you worry. Just like what
That's the
Adam was
problem
just
right
saying.
there.
When they stop talking to you, that's when you should worry, because then obviously you've done something wrong,
You know,
or you know what, that, you know, maybe it's time to part ways, however you want to say it. You know,
and if you don't like it, don't watch. Not a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
There are plenty of other people that'll watch. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I think it was Chuck Noll. Well, I'm gonna look up the quote real quick.
No.
When you lose, say nothing. Or when you win, say nothing.
Mm.
When you lose, say even less.
there's another famous coach in the 70s.
Yeah, great coach.
Oh, was the see? There's the franchise that was only had 4 head coaches. And
Correct.
it's 4 or 5 head coaches in its franchise.
70 years.
Steelers have only had 4 or 5 head coaches total in their existence. That's amazing. That's amazing to only have 5 head guys through your whole. And you know what's his name? Tomlin is a great head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
it was Paul Brown. Sorry, wrong guy. Paul Brown. Another great 70s coach.
Paul Brown. Yep, correct.
When you win, say nothing. When you lose, say less. You know.
What's this of nothing?
Yeah, I know exactly.
Speaking of head coaches, Hank Strom was the head coach of the Chiefs. Am I
He
correct?
was. Just keep
Another
matriculating that
great
ball.
head coach.
Just keep matriculating that ball.
And then what was it? Vince Lombardi was a famous coach in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, I think of Vince as the
60s.
60s. I think of him as a
60s.
60s guy, yeah. Bud Grant.
Buddy Grant.
Buddy Grant, yep. From the Vikings.
Yep.
Never
You
want to
know-
tell you about.
No, I know. It's such a shame. Fran Tarkenton is such an underappreciated quarterback.
That's true.
Man, he was the first run and gun that Lamar Jackson, Donovan McNabb, help me here, Michael Vick. He was all of those guys before they were a thing.
Yes.
Back in the 70s. Don Coryell in San Diego.
Wasn't the Vikings defense nicknamed the Purple People
Purple
Eaters?
People Eaters. Yep.
Yes.
One-eyed, flying purple people eater.
Good song too. That was a good
I know, I
song.
love that song. It's
Yeah.
a great Halloween song.
Yes.
the Vikings, of course, share the whole been to 4 Super Bowls, haven't won one with the Buffalo Bills.
Yep. They were going to be moved. I know I talked about this last week or the week before last. They were going to be moved in the 70s to Birmingham.
Right.
Because they didn't have a stadium, and the NFL had a requirement that all stadiums had to have 50,000 seats, and they didn't have a stadium, and and then they finally built the Hubert H. Humphreys Metrodome.
It's in collapse by snow, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Right?
Yes.
In 2013. So the Vikings played, I want to say it was the Packers in Detroit. I know they played in Detroit, but I don't remember who they played.
I mean, you can go down the list of great players in the 70s. We were talking about, Thurman Munson and, all those guys. Again, like you said, baseball became, I think. Now, when was the whole Mantle Maris thing? Was that the 70s or was that the 60s?
61.
61.
Okay. Gotcha. So that came a decade before. Okay.
Yes.
Was Billy Martin the manager of the Yankees when they won the World Series in the 70s?
Yes, they were. And the Bronx was burning then. Because Steinbrenner and Martin couldn't stand each other.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's why they kept getting hired and fired. You keep getting 6 times.
They have a love-hate relationship.
Oh, more hate than love. I think. Yeah.
They have a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I think it's more though hate than love, to be honest.
Well, what's cool about George Steinbrenner is, he did a lot for my area in Tampa Bay. I mean, he did a lot for the area. There's a high school named after him down here in Tampa, the Hillsborough County area where the Bucks and Bulls and Lightning call home. The Rays are in Pinellas County where I live, but George Steinbrenner has a high school named after him in Tampa. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. Gerald was kind of quiet. Usually, he kind of gets on all the conversation, and I knew something was up. He did.
Well, he was muted for a while, so.
And then you asked him, but about the 1979 fight, he didn't really. But when you're tired, he said he was tired. You can't.
He looked tired. He looked rough. So I can't blame him. I'm not gonna begrudge anyone being. I'm tired.
Me either.
If this wasn't my show, I'd go to bed. But this is my show. This is what I do. So,
Well,
I'm here for you people.
I wasn't on there, guys.
I thought it was great. I had a blast.
I wasn't there at all.
Because he had messaged me earlier in the week and told me that he didn't have any material. Then he comes back like an hour later and says, "Yep, you know what? I got plenty." I go, "Good."
Yeah, he hit up the group. He hit up the group chat and was like, "Hey, I don't have anything for this week." I was like, "What do you mean you ain't got any? Make something up. I'll be there. I might not be there right on time, but I'll be there eventually." For me, the hardest part is trying to do a show solo. As long as I've got somebody, I've got material.
Same here.
As long as Brad's here or Lou's here, I got material.
Yeah.
I can do a full 2-hour show, no problem. This, it may not be boom, 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 roll right through topics, but as long as I got my boys here, I'm good for 2 hours.
Sure.
Because I can let you guys, I can throw something out there and let you guys ramble on for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I can ramble on, believe me.
Well, I mean, I've already got stuff for next week's show already. I've already put notes together for next. I mean, even I know we're a week away, but we got to
recap NHL free agency, NBA free agency is going to get hot again.
I covered free long.
And then training camp's getting ready to open up. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to talk about. We've done a full over an hour on the 1970s, and
Lou,
we only have.
Let me ask you guys a question. What were you guys' thoughts about the Wimbledon final between Djokovic and Kyrgios? I don't remember how to pronounce his last name.
Kyrgios.
Kyrgios, the Australian.
Yeah, I thought it was Greek.
I don't follow tennis, so
I watched some of it.
I did see a little bit of it.
He likes to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
People in the stands, people in the box, the referees. He's a modern day John McEnroe. He is a modern day John McEnroe.
Well, not as nasty though as McEnroe.
I don't know. He loses his cool. Nick loses his cool a lot, similar to John.
Well, you know, speaking of a John we haven't talked about, who was a 1970s fixture,
Madden?
John Madden.
John Madden.
How can you know, those Raider teams of the 70s, it wouldn't have been what they were without John Madden.
No, not at all.
Well,
You know,
I was gonna ask you guys too. How did they only win one Super Bowl as him as a head coach? That's amazing to think about that too.
Because the Steelers were better.
Exactly.
There you go.
I mean, it was a perfect
Fourth
storm.
title.
It was a perfect storm. I mean, just some bad I mean, what in terms of the NFL, what if Frank doesn't make that catch?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if Rocky Blyer stays in Vietnam? You know, and what
Wow. Mm.
you know? What if Rocky Blyer doesn't come back to the NFL? What if he stays in
Yeah.
Vietnam?
Mm-hmm.
And what if Franco doesn't make that catch? I mean,
And they would have won 4 Super Bowls.
maybe. Who knows? You know. I mean, you know. How was Rocky was 76, right? Or 75?
76.
I thought it was 76. I mean, you know, and looking, you know, that's when you start to see sports movies become a thing.
Yeah.
The 70s.
Of course, though, that wasn't a true story, though.
No, but it was still a sports movie.
Yes.
I didn't say based on true story. It was just a sports
No, but
movie.
most sports movies are based on, true stories. This was not. This was purely fiction.
Yeah. The Sandlot's fictional. The Mighty Ducks are fictional. Angels in the Outfield. Bull
Yeah.
Durham.
Sandlot's my all-time favorite sports movie.
Yeah.
That was a lot of bull.
I hate
Bull Durham.
I
Yeah,
hate
it
Bull
was a lot
Durham.
of bull.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
say
here, speaking of it, you may go through some of the ones in the 1970s that were popular
Yeah.
okay.
sports movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Longest Yard, the original one.
Yes.
that's a good
better
movie.
one. Better one.
Not Adam Sandler. Brian's Song.
Yes.
That's a sad movie. Sad movie.
I hate Notre Dame, so I refuse to watch it.
We just lost James Caan was in the movie as well. We just lost him last week.
I know.
him.
I just watched The Godfather the other week too.
Yeah.
I watched that over the holiday weekend, over 4th of July. I watched The Godfather.
Yeah.
How about Walter Matthau in the Bad News Bears?
Oh, one of
Mm.
my favorites.
70s.
Let them play. Let them play. I had to do it.
A very, very young Sylvester Stallone playing this boxer named Rocky.
Yeah.
I wonder whatever happened to that guy.
Yeah.
No,
that's-
no.
You know, he wrote it in a weekend.
Hey, Mickey, come on. I gotta fight this guy. Not
Yeah.
bad. Come on. Listen, I can't let you fight this guy. He'll knock you tomorrow, Rock. Oh boy.
The one of the most iconic scenes in movies is the running up the steps of the Capitol building in Philly.
Yep.
in Philadelphia.
When
Yep.
he comes in, he gets to the top of the stairs and he throws both arms up. It's still done 40, 50 years later.
Yep.
We will still
Well,
run up.
I'll tell you what, but if I ever got a chance to go to Philadelphia, I'd do that. I'd do it.
I thought you
I
were crazy
walk-
Liberty, but to be honest, but still.
With my bad leg, I'd have to walk, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, once you get to the top, it don't matter. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. You're not
No,
trying to set world
I
record
mean,
or
I'll fight
anything.
Liberty Bell.
I'm not running up them stairs anymore. I'm too fat and old
No.
for that.
North Dallas 40 with Nick Nolte. I was
Ooh, I
watching
forgot about that one.
it.
I didn't realize that was 70s.
78.
Taxi Driver was a sports movie?
Wow.
No,
Taxi
that can't.
Driver?
You talking to me?
Robert De Niro? No, that can't be right.
No,
right?
come on.
I wouldn't think so. Okay. Trying to go through all of these.
Whoever thought that was a sports movie must be nuts.
I don't see anything.
I always thought that was about Vietnam.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
It says, see here, 1970 sports comedies. So you have Slapshot.
Slapshot.
Oh, that's a great
Yes.
movie.
Slapshot.
Great fucking movie.
And
I'm trying to listen to the song.
So,
And they're all standing on the blue line, bloody as hell.
yes.
Slapshot.
I wasn't allowed to watch that movie when I was a kid.
Neither was I.
I was like, oh, it's a hockey movie, it'll be fun. And my parents forgot which movie it was. I was like 6 or 7, and they put it on, and I was it. Who the hell is in that? Is it? I can't remember his name. I can see his face. I can see his face.
Yeah.
Newman.
Paul Newman.
Paul Newman. Yeah.
Turning into hockey in the first place.
And they have the sex scene, and my mom turned it off. It's like,
I know.
you're not allowed to. You're not watching this yet. And then years later, I saw it. I was like, I can kind of understand why you didn't let me watch this when I was
Yeah.
I love it.
The Hanson
Hanson
brothers.
Brothers. Hanson Brothers. Yep.
We outside.
I'm trying to listen to the song. Oh yeah, the national anthem.
Oh,
when you go through like top sports movies,
yeah.
Slapshot when it comes to hockey,
It's
rated
right up there.
Beats
with
it.
the Mighty
Miracle.
Ducks.
Miracle's
probably the top one about.
Yeah, that for me, that's my number one all-time sports movie.
This is your time.
What about
You want me to play? I'll play.
Yeah.
Think that'll get him going?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like he's got him skating back and forth doing Herbies. He's like, "What team do you play for?" He goes, "The United States of America." Have a good night.
Yeah.
Have a good night. He just wanted him to say that. He didn't want them to tell them in college they played for.
No, he wanted them to be a damn team. He wanted them to play together.
Correct. He wanted to be
and do up downs until I get tired.
Yep.
On the blue line. Let's go.
Well, after they pretty much went through tying Sweden at that time, Sweden wasn't that good.
No.
Hockey team as they are now.
And they got crushed by the Soviet Union. They got absolutely destroyed by the Soviet Union. And they played Sweden to a tie. And they were on the verge of being eliminated. They were one more loss away from being eliminated.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they weren't playing as a team. They were more worried about what was going to happen after the game.
Uh-huh. And he taught them a lesson in a way.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Taught them a lesson.
And from what I've heard from the players that played for him, it's exactly how it went down.
Yep.
From what I've heard about the movie is it was pretty much a shot-for-shot remake of how it all happened.
Yes.
And he passed away before the movie
came out. Yep.
Yes.
I remember in the end of the movie they said that he didn't need to be here to see the movie. He lived
He lived it. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Who played him in the movie?
Kurt Russell.
Thank you.
Kurt Russell. Yep.
One thing we didn't touch on was the 1976 F1 World Championship. I just watched it over the weekend. Actually, so I was over at my friend's house and she had gone to talk to somebody else. She was on the phone, and I was like, "Hey, can I put a movie on?" It was still on Netflix. I was like, "I wonder if Rush is still on Netflix," and it was. So I put it on. And it's like, if she comes out here and she doesn't want to, she sat down and watched the last hour and a half with me. It's just such a good movie. It's such
Two of the greatest F1 drivers probably ever.
Oh, definitely. When Nikki gets hurt, when Nikki burns up,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we all got kind of a little bit choked up when he was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And again, another sports movie that they say is pretty much true to real life. That
Sure.
there wasn't anything that it was how it was. They pretty much shot for shot of how everything happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when Nicky gets hurt in Germany and he's on the shelf for he had third-degree burns over 90% of his body, had to have his lungs vacuumed out like twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's laying in the hospital watching Hunt win race after race and just eat his points lead. 6 weeks he was in the hospital with third-degrey burns.
He came back to Japan, right? The final race.
He came back. I think he came back before Japan.
Okay.
And he won another race before Japan. And then in Japan, it was monsoon season because of course it was. And they took the green flag and they went down into one, and it was bad. It was unsafe, and Nikki just pulled over, got out of the car, and went to the motorhome. And Hunt, with 3 to go, and his tires were just shot to shit. And come down, put new tires on. Went back out there in 5th, and in 2 laps got 3 positions and won the title, or 2 positions.
Wait, he finished third, or right?
He finished third.
Third of that race. Yeah.
Yep, he got 2 spots to finish third and win the title. And then he retired. And he was like, "You've been to the top of the mountain. I don't need to go back." It's kind of like climbing Everest. Once you've done it, and there's nothing else to do. You know?
He was played by Thor, right?
Yep.
Chris Hemsworth played him in that movie.
Oh yeah.
And he did a fucking amazing job playing.
And I don't know who the actor's name that played.
He was another Marvel. He's another Marvel alum, and I can never remember his name.
Chris Evans?
Oh, that's Cap, but no, Chris
No.
Evans did not play Niki Lauda. Hang on just a second.
It was Johnny Storm too.
It was Daniel Brühl.
Daniel Brühl, okay.
Yeah.
What else did he play in any?
Yeah,
he's a Marvel alum. Was he a bad guy or was he a?
Yeah. He was Captain Zemo.
Okay.
All right.
In Civil War.
Okay.
Or Baron Zemo.
Yeah, he's Spanish German.
Yep.
That's where he's from. Okay.
I think he grew up in Austria.
I was gonna say Niki Lauda was from Austria, right? Is that where
Niki was from Austria? Yes.
And what's his name was from England?
Yep. Hunt.
Hunt was from England.
Yep. Hunt was from England.
Yeah, he played in Civil War, and he also played. Looks like he had some time too in the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Daniel Caesar Martin Barol, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's got like 5 or 6 names.
Daniel Caesar Martin Barol Gonzalez Domingo.
Domingo. Yeah, he's got like 5 names to his liking. But yeah, I do remember him playing Niki Lauda in Rush. I don't know why when I think of Rush, I think of that Stallone movie where he was an IndyCar driver. I don't think it was F1. I think it was Indy. I don't remember what the heck that movie was called. He was a veteran driver that was brought in to help a rookie driver who was struggling. I don't remember if it was F1 or if that was Indy.
Driven.
Thank you.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
It's an okay movie, but it really is. If you want to, I mean, you're a motorsports guy, so you may want to take a chance and watch it. It's not as good as Rush. I can tell you that right now. It's not even as much.
Let's see. Stallone did, of course, Rocky, but he also did some other sports movies as well.
Stallone.
Okay, I don't know if you can count Over the Top as a sports movie, but give or take.
Give or take.
Yeah. And one you forgot. There was a movie called Victory.
Yes, the soccer movie.
Yes,
the soccer movie where they're being held hostage in Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the Nazis in Germany. I remember I saw that movie. I was actually impressed with it. I'm not really a soccer fan, but that movie was pretty good.
It was.
I remember that movie. That Pele was in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Pele was in
40 years ago.
Yep. And a very, very young. Who's the guy that was in Batman and played Alfred? The one with Christian Bale.
I know Michael Caine.
Famous English actor.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine was in that movie.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine was in that movie too. Victory. Yep. Yeah, Stallone was in Rocky. Victory. Over the Top. I'm trying to think what other sports movies he's been in other than those. Than those in particular. Hang on a second. Let's take a look real quick and see if.
I'm looking. I don't
think he's been in too many. He's more of an action guy than he is.
Yeah.
Than he is a sports guy.
You know. He got his first real big hit was was Rocky.
Rocky, yeah. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one that kind of almost put him on the map.
Yeah, he did other
Oh.
stuff before that though.
You could say Grudge Match.
Grudge Match.
Him and Robert De Niro.
Mm.
Death Race 2000 was one of the movies he was in.
Not a good movie.
Not really sure what that was
Forgot about
about, but Death Race 2000, yeah.
It's kind of like Mad Max.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all the Creed movies.
Yep.
He's in the Creed movies that just came out recently.
Right.
About Apollo Creed's son. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I wanted to see him.
I mean, if you want, Adam, you're not gonna miss anything. But if you want to watch Driven, you can. It's not a bad movie. It's just it's not
great.
Not the same as it's not the same as Rush or anything like that because Rush was based on actual events.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunt and Rada, there have been one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports and probably in F1, I would imagine.
Definitely the best rivalry in F1.
Unfortunately,
we never got to see what would happen between Senna and Schumacher.
Yeah.
Schumacher.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Niki Lauda ran Porsche? Is that what he...
Ferrari.
Ferrari, that's right.
Ferrari, yeah.
He redesigned the Ferrari car. He had an idea to make it faster, and then he did it.
He did.
Yeah.
And then Hunt ran what? McLaren?
Yeah, Hunt ran for McLaren.
Yeah. That's my favorite. Dream car. Is a McLaren.
They're sweet rides. I won't ever own a Ferrari. Not a chance. Even if I had FU money. Because you can't just have it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't drive them anywhere, dude. You can't drive
when you buy them. When you buy them.
Yeah.
When you buy one, they give you a certain number of hours you can run it for. And you set up a date and you go to their facility and you drive it around their facility and they bring you in and they take your keys and they say, thanks for coming. We'll see you again later. And they tear it all the way down and rebuild it all up again. Mm-hmm. And then when they're ready for you to come back, you can come back and drive it again.
Yeah. I was in California about 30 years ago and I see one of the most strangest license plates that I ever came. And was a Ferrari and said, I ate a Ferrari. Like, oh, I ate a Ferrari.
Probably on a Lambo.
Just if I were Lamborghini, probably.
Boy, that'd be hard to digest, though, wouldn't it?
What was the car, guys? Correct me if I'm wrong. What was the car that was used in Beverly Hills Cop 2? Was that a Lamborghini that he wrecked?
Yeah,
I haven't seen them.
That was wrecked? Or was it a Ferrari? It was a Ferrari that was used in the second movie. That's the one that he drove, and then Paul Reiser is the one who wrecked it. About the end of the movie, he wrecked a car. But yeah, no, I mean he was it. There's a movie with him. What is that movie with him where he plays the dad of the kid that is the drummer? And I forget what the name is. Whiplash. That movie.
That's a fantastic movie.
It is a good movie. I just feel bad for the kid. He just gets beat the shit.
He did it to himself.
Yeah. He just absolutely beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, he was too intense for his own good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's the guy that does the what insurance commercial does he do?
J.K. Simmons.
Farmers.
Yeah.
Farmers.
Farmers
insurance.
Yeah. He's a great actor.
He's all in the Spider-Man movies. He's in the Spider-Man.
Jonah Jameson.
J.J. Jameson.
Yeah.
J.J. Jameson.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and you can look it up. Did he win an Oscar for Whiplash, or was he nominated for one?
I think he was nominated.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he ever won an Oscar.
He may have been nominated that year because, like I said, that movie was. I saw him like.
Yeah.
Crap. Then the kid that was in that movie was in the new Top Gun movie that just came out.
Yes, he was.
The Maverick movie?
Yeah, he played Rooster.
Dude, let me tell you something about that.
I was telling.
I was
blown away.
I was impressed. That movie was great. It's actually still making good numbers in the box office. So, Lou, if you haven't seen it yet, take 3 hours to go see it because it's worth it. I saw it
Yeah.
twice. I've seen it twice in the movie theater. So, yeah, Miles Teller, right, is the guy that plays.
Correct.
Yeah, I like him in The Spectacular Now.
He won Best Supporting Actor for Whiplash.
Okay, he won. Okay, so that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought he won. Okay, so he didn't win an Oscar. He won best.
He did. He won
He won an
the
Oscar.
Oscar.
For that movie.
Oh.
Yes, he won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Yep.
I thought so. I thought that they had said that he won an Oscar for that role.
I see.
When
This
it was
is the producer in our ear. They can just look this stuff up as we're doing it.
that would be nice.
So I
That
don't
would
have
be
to.
great. Yeah, that would be awesome to go.
Uh,
Hey, look this up.
That's
this
the
stat.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
well when it's just throwing things out there and they're already on it.
Yeah. Look
But-
at this stat for us. Look up this stat.
I know the show has kind of devolved from the 70s, but because Lou was the only one that was here for the 70s,
Thank you.
and I don't have the nostalgia for the 70s that I do have for the 80s.
Unfortunately, I do got the 70s. In fact, back to auto racing for a minute, the first time in the 70s that a woman actually entered the Indy 500 and she finished in the top 10.
I know Janet Guthrie run races in Cup, but I don't know who run.
She was the first woman in the Indy 500, or the most
Yeah.
successful at the time.
Has there been anybody better? Has
Danica.
anyone ever finished in the top 10?
Danica.
Yeah, Danica run fourth in her first.
Oh, did she? Okay, I didn't. Okay.
Yep,
This was
it
Danica's.
was Guthrie. Yeah, it was Guthrie.
Danica before Danica.
Yeah, the original Danica,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
real
this-
Danica.
Only the current Danica is,
Mm. Well, me and my mom I was talking to my mom about Danica Patrick,
Oh.
and my mom never liked her because she wasn't any good, and the fact is that she wasn't there to. The only reason they kept her around is because she was pretty,
The glamour.
and she looked good in a swimsuit. And my mom, who was a Terry Labonte, my mom doesn't care if a girl is she's not attracted to women,
Right.
and so it had no appeal to her.
Exactly.
And me and my mom were talking about the 95% of women who don't care about racing regardless of who's driving. And
Right.
they weren't gonna switch. All of a sudden, all these girls were like, "Oh my God, there's a woman race car driver I gotta watch every week," and the girls that did like racing, they already had their own favorite driver.
Yeah.
And Danica Patrick was shoved down our throats, and she wasn't any good. She never competed for wins. She wasn't racing. She wasn't running for top 5 to top 10s. She was running mid-pack every week, and yet they're talking about her.
Mm-hmm.
And the girls that like racing aren't pretty girls. They're hardworking blue collar girls who would rather be working out on a truck or out in the mud or hunting and fishing and spitting, chewing tobacco and drinking beer.
Like
And
you
they have no use for pretty girls.
Yeah.
Because the pretty girls are the ones that picked on them and hated on them for watching motorsports and
Yeah.
liking all the things that boys do. And it's like, oh, look at this pretty girl comes along and now she's doing our thing. And these girls who actually care about motorsports are like, why should I care anymore? Because these
Correct.
pretty girls are here and these pretty girls are they're gonna continue to spit on us and continue, and now they're taking jobs away from us and can't win for losing.
Yeah. Well, I'll say one thing. Danica looks better in a swimsuit than I do.
And Danica Patrick wasn't competitive. I think she would have been far more accepted if she had been competitive.
Yes.
But she wasn't competitive. She wasn't running in the top 5 or top 10 each week. She was running in the 20s and 30s, and she had top tier equipment. It wasn't like you could say, oh, she has middle of the pack equipment and she's doing her best. She had top flight equipment at JRM, at Junior Motorsports, and at Stewart Haas, and she had top flight crew and a great crew chief, and she could never figure it out. And yet here we are, week in and week out, and they're pushing her on us. and the girls that watch motorsports want to watch winners. And if you're not winning, they don't care. They're going to find somebody who does.
Right.
Well, that's
And
the way
so-
it is in motorsports. If you don't
And-
win, you're gone. They'll find someone else that will
Yeah,
win.
somebody that will win. Yeah.
Yep.
And it wasn't like, and she didn't get there on merit. She got there because she was pretty.
Yes.
She looked good in a swimsuit, and she was marketable.
Better than I am.
And it wasn't. She was middle of the pack and top flight equipment, and girls that like motorsports, they don't care if you're a pretty girl because the pretty girls, the popular girls, have been mean and rude to them for years, all their life. All they've heard is, "I don't know why you like motorsports. It's just going around in circles. It's stupid. It's dumb." And then you got this pretty girl who comes along.
You know.
And you got this pretty girl coming along who's looks just like every other popular stuck-up bitch who's been mean to them for the last 20 years. And now she gets a ride, and she's got no talent, a no-talent hack that couldn't find their way around a steering wheel with both hands in a map.
Mm.
And the only reason she's here is because my slobbing boyfriend is going to drool over her for the next 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Screw her and screw you and screw this. I'm going home.
Screw it, I'm going home.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Screw you guys.
Yeah. And then you killed Kenny. You bastard.
Oh my God! They killed Kenny.
You
Those
bastard.
bastards.
1990s, right? That's when South Park became.
Yeah,
Yeah.
late 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine that happening in the 70s.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Blazing Saddles came out in the 70s.
What was that?
Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
A black sheriff.
A black
Well,
sheriff?
Blazing Saddles. But
You missed a lot of good stuff, guys, in the 70s, and you missed a lot of bad stuff, too.
yeah,
Every decade has
Has
had a
its
great
pros.
TV show. Now,
Yeah.
MASH was the 80s, right? Did MASH
Seventies.
come in-
70s.
70s?
Yep.
Okay. Vietnam, right? During the
Korea.
Vietnam War.
it was
Korea.
set. It was set in Korea.
Korea.
Mm.
It was set in Korea, but it was thinly
That's right.
veiled. It was set in Korea, but everybody knew it was Vietnam.
In
I
the
was gonna
later
go- I
years,
thought-
yes.
I thought
It was.
Vietnam. Yeah.
It was set in Korea. It was set during the Korean War, but everybody knew that it was a
Well, don't
it
forget.
was commentary on Vietnam,
Don't forget. Back when MASH first started, we were still in Vietnam, so
and it was very. Everyone knew that it was supposed to be. It was set in Korea, but everybody knew it was supposed to be Vietnam.
right.
It was criticism on Vietnam, on the Vietnam War.
Of course. Especially in the early years, they were,
Because the movie comes out in '69, right?
yeah, because 69, 70,
Yeah, and then the show premieres in '70.
72.
Stallone
that
was an uncredited extra in that.
Yeah.
In the movie?
Or
In the
TV
show.
What? Yeah, but I didn't
I think it was the
recognize.
show.
I didn't recognize him in any episodes. But still,
No, you wouldn't.
yeah,
And how many seasons did that
I
show
was just
last?
looking at that.
11.
11 seasons?
11
Yeah, I was going to say, it lasted a long time.
11.
Yep. Right through grammar school for me.
And they ended it with all of them going home, right? Like they all went
Mm.
home and they didn't know what they were going to do.
Right.
They didn't know what
Well, I
they
would
were
probably know what to do either if I was coming back from the war. I probably wouldn't know what to do either.
Oh, it was the movie.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, the later years was very
It was
different.
based
from the
on-
early years.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, the early years were like the movie. The later years was completely different.
Sorry, guys, I just had someone
So
text
this is
me
what
that.
the
Wow. What?
this is what the Wikipedia write up says about MASH. Although the Korean War is the film's storyline setting, the subtext is the Vietnam War, a current event at the time the film was made.
I actually asked. I worked with a guy that was a Marine during Vietnam, and I asked him what movies were more accurate. He told me Platoon and Full Metal Jacket were about as accurate as you possibly could get for Vietnam.
Yeah.
Were those two movies that were based on the Vietnam War?
Yep.
Because Saving Private Ryan was what, World War One?
Two.
Or was that
I thought it was two.
two?
It is two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The second
The
one.
landings at Normandy,
Mm-hmm.
the beach scene.
Guys, I just want to let you know that my friend Kelsey says that we're killing on this show. Just want to let you know that.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's what I do.
Good. It's a good comment.
Okay.
I kill it every week. You know, I bring the heat.
Yeah, I just want to be sure. I just be sure I want to get killed.
Yeah, she says,
Yeah,
can't
right.
complain. You're killing your Walker report. Just thought I'd let you know. So that's
Okay.
a
I
positive.
just thought I was gonna get killed off.
Hey,
No,
don't
no,
forget,
no.
If you're enjoying it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
At your own risk.
Yes, indeed. No, you know, the 70s, it was such a different time in
You can see that
America.
again.
It was such a different time in America. There.
It was.
You know, it was, you know, the 70s, you know, and escapism really becomes a big thing in the late 70s. You know,
Oh, yeah.
the Vietnam War is over, right? The Vietnam War is over, Watergate's over.
Watergate. There
Not
you
a
go.
crook, but I'll resign doing tomorrow anyway.
I am not a crook.
I am not a
My camera. I am not a crook. Camera's not
I
on.
shall resign at noon tomorrow.
Right, and you see the beginnings of the right left divide, where everybody starts taking
Correct.
hardline stances against. You know, it's like that Buffalo Springfield song.
For what it's worth,
For what it's worth,
that was
exactly.
67. That came out in 1967.
Right. That's fine. I understand that, but
But still relevant in the 70s anyway.
yes, and there's just one line in this song in particular that 1,000 people in the
The
street
street.
singing songs and they're carrying signs, mostly say "Hoorah for our side."
For our side.
Yeah.
Yep. I can play on
66.
piano too.
No, it was relevant to make my point. That's
Right.
all. I understand
I
that.
understand
I understand that it came out in the 60s, but it's still relevant 50, 60 years later, you know.
Sure.
In battle lines being drawn, you know, and that you see that in the left, right, you know, you see that divide becoming ever more present in the 60s and 70s
Mhm.
and in the 80s. And the inability to talk like adults and have conversations and
Yes.
come to compromises. And there we go. Ooh, excuse me.
And Belgian contest became a thing well in the 70s too. God,
No, I think those have always been a thing.
It's known as towel snapping. Oh.
Oh, the towel snaps.
Of course.
Oh,
What movie was that?
It was Animal House.
yeah.
there
Are
was
you
a-
thinking Remember the Titans?
Remember the
No,
Titans
wait.
was one of them. What was the movie with Hayden Panettiere where she was the crush of that kid? They did towel fights and they
Yeah.
I'd have to
the
look it up.
cheerleaders save the world.
Nah.
Yeah, she was a cheerleader. She was a cheerleader.
That was it Heroes?
Heroes.
Heroes. Okay.
Yeah, that was a
Cheerleaders.
shock.
Cheerleaders save the world.
Save the cheerleader, save the world. I watched the first season of that. It was good.
I like Ham Panettiere though.
I do too.
Yep. She was in a video game not too long ago too.
And you forgot also another series afterwards. It's kind of like more in your area.
My area?
No.
Oh,
My area?
Yeah.
You have to enlighten me because I'm not sure.
You live in
you're talking-
Tennessee, right?
I do.
What's the big city in Tennessee?
Nashville.
Memphis.
Thank you.
Oh, she was in Nashville. Yeah, I
Well,
forgot about that.
I-
Yeah, she's the country music singer in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, both her and the lead weren't bad. Connie Britton.
I haven't seen it.
Ah,
It's
that's about country music, right? How this
yeah, it's a
started.
girl drama.
I liked it.
Eh, it's not the music that it's not the country music that I like. So I like 70s country music. I'm big into Waylon, Willie, and the boys.
Well,
Roger Miller, King of the Road.
you can't get leave with that one. And which came up with the phrase that we now call wackadoo. Oh, no.
Yes. Chug a lug, chug a lug. Make y'all hard.
I gotta get my cousin on here. She refers to people as wackadoos anyway. I gotta get her on here sometime. She knows about the show and everything.
Oh, cool.
And she knows. Of course, you know about my latest adventure. Bradley does not, though. I was gonna say it was at the end of the show, but I'll bring it up now because now my show, the Enhanced Sports Show, is now on Facebook Live.
Nice.
Yes, but last week the Go Live button wasn't working, so was Facebook dead. Still, I'm working on it though.
Are you doing it from StreamYards or?
No StreamYard yet. I gotta graduate from Facebook Live first.
He's doing it like we used to do. He's doing it on Facebook, and then it would,
Yeah, I like doing it through the StreamYard.
My Go Live button was dead, so was Facebook dead.
Boo. Yeah, it's
sorry, guys, I had to do it.
That's the thing about the like looking back at the 70s and looking where we are now, 50 years later. We were talking about that on Gerald's show, and he made the comment about the NFL being soft, and I kind of jumped him for that because I hate when people say that it's soft.
I mean, I say it's soft.
I don't know where people get off saying that it's soft.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm like. You don't sign up to get involved in 50 car crashes a week. 18 weeks out of the year, 19 weeks out of the year, 20 weeks out of the year. And you can sit. Maybe it's not the 70s, but the 70s were so bad. The things that they got away with in the 70s that they should have never been allowed to do.
Right.
Montana would have had a much longer career if he had taken all them hits.
Sure.
I mean, Montana was a glass cannon. He got hit and he was going down.
Yeah.
He's gonna miss 4 weeks. And they want to talk junk about Brady and they call he's jumping up looking for every quarterback. Every quarterback does that, and every era of football has done that, looking for the flag. That's how it is. That's all sports. It's like the guy that you have that scrum down on the other end of the ice, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you got a couple of guys in there, and somebody gets a whack, and then the other guy gets a whack.
Yeah.
And they're gonna take the second guy because they always you get the react. They always get the second guy.
Oh, that reminds me. I mean, we're discussing about how leagues have merged and went through the 70s, the AHL and the WHA and the NHL, the NBA and the NBA. We forgot about a forgotten football league that was actually in the 70s. This did exist. It was called the WLAF. It only lasted like a season and a half. It was pretty bad, and it was like the precursor to what the 80s USFL was. It only lasted like a season and a half, and I think ABC had some games, but it had no comparison, to the NFL at all. It was just like, a complete waste. I mean, it didn't even last through its second full season. So it was kind of like, as bad as the XFL and the AAF were, but, still. Yeah. I mean, because the AAF was pretty bad. But it was like the precursor to the USFL of the 1980s. The first crack at spring football, which everybody probably thought was a joke. And that's
what about the WFL?
That was another joke. World Football League. Yeah, that was the 90s though.
73 to 75.
Okay, that was one then. But that was the football league that is in the spring. It didn't go very well though. But that was like I said, like the precursors to the USFL. Now, don't get me started on the World League American Football for the 90s because that was, I don't know what happened. I'll tell you, though, that was something weird. At the arena, at the stadium, rather, they had the game on. Jersey, the New York Jersey Knights against, I think it was Barcelona or Montreal. And next door where I was, there was a Metallica concert.
Nice.
Nice.
And who do you think got more of a crowd?
Concert.
Yep,
The concert.
I was there.
They were talking earlier on the radio today about the two Canadian teams that hate each other more is Toronto and Montreal. Obviously, they've been around since the start of the NHL.
They've been around since the prehistoric era.
Yeah. They do hate each other.
Oh,
They
sure.
do hate each other. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit my skate.
Yeah. Talk about rivalries in the 70s, Montreal and Toronto.
Yeah.
Yep.
What were some of the other great rivalries in the what about the 10 Years' War?
I think that too. But I think probably Montreal and Toronto were the big rivals of the 70s. Although I think you had the Yankees and the Red Sox. That was another one.
Yep.
Yeah, but they've always hated each other though.
I know, but more so in the 70s. That was just like plain right down but ugly.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Lou, being that you're a Yankee fan, I'm a Red Sox fan. I missed the 90-2000 Yankee-Red Sox rivalry because you knew there was going to be something happening. Somebody was going to get hit. There was going to be a big play, a home run, a catch, or whatever. The last 5 or 6 years, it's not been the same between those two teams. And it's okay. It's all right. It doesn't have to be.
They mellowed out.
Yeah. They mellowed out. They all, yeah.
I never thought I'd see that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, in the 70s, we also had, well, even though some men I consider it big, but I did, the NASL Soccer League was pretty big, especially with the New York Cosmos.
Mm.
I mean, they were drawing fans like you wouldn't believe. They won 5 championships. Their problem was that there weren't enough competitive teams, to go up against them. That's why they folded back in the 80s, because although the Cosmos were competitive, the rest of the league was just second rate.
Lou, was the Rowdies or the Mutiny part of that league too for Tampa Bay?
Yes.
Did they have a soccer team back in the 70s too?
They did.
I think it was the Mutiny, right? Or no, maybe it was the Rowdies. Maybe that's who it was.
The Rowdies.
Yeah. Who it is now. That's who it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was pretty upset when they had to fold in 1984. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Thanks a lot.
I only watched the
Soccer's going on right now, right? Premier or
Yeah.
Copa.
Yeah. They're going on right now, right?
But this was the precursor that we call now MLS. But
MLS is going on right now.
Yeah. But that was American, and I had covers of Rick Davis on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and when you're good, you're good when you make the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Oh yeah.
Your league has to be something. I was a big Cosmos fan. And yeah, okay, there we are. I thought I lost your audio.
I've never been able to get into soccer, so
Uh,
soccer is really good in person. I had a great time.
I've been to some Metro Stars games.
I went to as many of the Oakland soccer games I could get to when I was at school, and they were really fun. And University.
Okay, college soccer.
Yeah, college soccer.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
They were a lot of fun to watch. I watched the girls, the boys, everything. It was great. But to watch it on TV, it's just so boring because they have to follow the ball. Like when you're there in person, you can follow whatever you want to watch.
You gotta be careful you don't get hit with the ball in the winter there.
The ball never came up that close to the stand, so
Right.
and we sat parallel.
Balls.
They didn't have stands behind the goalpost. They only had bleachers along the one
Always
side.
never been to a game with the Meadowlands.
But to watch soccer on TV, I just never been able to get into it.
Not even the World Cup.
Not even the World Cup.
That's the only time I ever watched the World Cup and the Olympics. The only 2 times I watched soccer. That's the only 2 times.
Well,
I was watching lacrosse over the weekend. I don't know if you guys like to watch that on TV.
Whenever I get a chance, yes.
USA beat Canada in the World Championship.
In what?
They're playing Canada now.
Well, Canada's finished second the last 3 years. The last 3 World Cups for lacrosse, they finished second.
I used to watch a little bit of college lacrosse. It was kind of fun.
Yeah. Playing Canada.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about, I was thinking about rugby too. There's a sport that I'd rather be there now that I've been to a game in person. Yeah. I'd rather be there in person than watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
rugby's a lot of. I like watching rugby.
On TV, you can get hurt there.
Rugby's a little different. Rugby, the ball moves there; they don't stop. It's a consistent moving.
It's a rough game though.
You can only tackle the guy if he has the ball. You can't tackle him if he doesn't have the ball. You can block, but you can't tackle him.
It's a lot. It is why they consider it to be a precursor to the NFL.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. And of course, you had the
that was a good play.
Raiders and
Raiders
Steelers and whatnot in the 70s. Yeah. Maybe I like the Steelers and the Cowboys because they were the winning teams in the 70s.
Yeah, the Steelers and Cowboys are.
Cowboys.
Who was Dallas's quarterback? Was it Staubach?
Mm-hmm.
White?
Roger?
Okay.
Don Meredith. No, he was 60s though.
Yeah.
But he was the one. That's the name I was trying to come up with.
I liked him on Monday Night Football. He
was
greatest.
Don Meredith and Howard Cosell.
Yep.
The party's over. They say all good things must come to an end.
Eek.
I
don't get old.
I know, right? I remember
tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.
Eek.
I remember seeing the I know this is 80s, but when he had to break in after Lennon got shot.
After Lennon got shot, December 1980, right in the middle, right towards the end of the game.
December 8th, 1980. I looked it up earlier just to check
and see. Football game. I wasn't able to see the end of the game on that night, but when I found the next morning, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, you sit around the air like,
and that's
just a football game.
And that's when sports broadcasting began to change, as with the introduction of instant replay, and the ability to pause and rewind plays. Not like for the TV people to be able to that's when TV sports took off.
That's when it evolved.
That's when it took off. Is the fact that they were able to slow it down, back it up, show you it again, and it gave them. I think we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this before, but I think I mentioned it. But baseball is a great game for radio.
Yes,
baseball is perfect for radio because baseball is so slow, and so baseball isn't great on TV. I don't mind watching a baseball game. I watch all the baseball games.
Yeah,
but baseball is better on radio.
Yeah,
because there's a lot less to talk about compared to like hockey or football or basketball. And I've listened to basketball and baseball and hockey and football all on the radio. And if you have the right crew doing it, they can all be great. They can, but if they're bad, like I was listening, like I came from Detroit, right? And I had Jim Price and Dan Dickerson were my radio baseball guys.
Yeah.
And they were great. And they were able to paint a picture with words. You knew exactly what was happening, how it was happening, when it was happening. And I was listening, and Dickerson always had a great story, or Price had a great story because they played baseball in the 60s. They were part of the 68 World Series team. And so they had great stories. And I was listening to the Atlanta. I got down here, and I was like, I don't have anything to do. I'm waiting for my friend. I'm going to listen to the baseball while I'm waiting for him. And there was so much dead air.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is boring. This sucks. Say something. At least give me the score.
Yeah.
Give me the count and the score. Freddie Freeman up, 2 on, no outs, bottom of the 5th, 3-2 New York Mets.
Yeah.
Give me the score. Give me, I just turned it on. No idea what's going on. And I've sat here for 5 minutes and there's been 45 seconds of dead air that could have been filled with, at least telling me the score, the count, and who's batting. And I was like, this is terrible. These guys suck.
Yeah. Well, we can't all be winners,
I know, right?
Hey, but that'll be the name of the next podcast. We can't all be winners.com. No.
Right?
I can't do that.
Gentlemen,
No.
do you want to call it there? Call it a show?
I'm good to call it.
We can't insult the injury there, so
All right.
Lou, do you want to go ahead and talk about your show on Saturday?
all right. As it's called, we can't all be winners.com. No, the Enhanced Sports Show. Oh boy.
Change the name of it.
Hosted on weallcan'tbewinners.com.
That's right. That's gonna be the backup. Show is 5 to 7 p.m. Saturdays, Eastern Time. Number's still the same, 512-543-4662. That has not changed. That's still a call number. Although we are now on Facebook Live, or if it doesn't go up, be Facebook Dead, depending on if it works. Since my Go Live button didn't work. We'll discuss the NHL free agency, what's left of NBA free agency, although I think that period is done. The All-Star Game, the Home Run Derby. We'll recap Wimbledon. And for those of you with special interest, we'll go over the nominations for the ESPY Awards. For those of you who don't know what the ESPY Awards is, think of it as like the sports version of the Oscars. Just not as long. Just not like a 6-hour speech,
Oh, so you mean athletes congratulating each other for being super rich? You mean sports writers congratulating athletes for being super rich.
Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong.
You were practicing that one, weren't you?
Yeah.
You were gonna leave that right into it.
I've had that in the can for years.
Yeah. I knew it.
I've been waiting to use it.
I knew you were gonna do something like that. I knew it because I'm bringing up an award show or something like that. You were gonna come with something like that.
Too long.
Yeah.
I'll plug the Instagram, the Walker Report official.
Yeah. So if you
Yeah,
got
that-
it, so if you got time, and don't forget to look for us on Facebook Live. Assuming it's working. Same time 5 to 7. So it should be a very interesting show. And of course, the week after that, we'll recap everything else. And you guys thought July was going to be a dull month. So did I. Wrong. Let's see. Let me just go here for a second. July 28th, I'll be doing a show from South Jersey because I'll be not doing it from here.
Nice.
So if the Saints we look a little bit different, you're going to think, hey, your state looks a little bit different tonight. Well, it's because I'll be at a vacation home, but I'll still do the show.
All right.
So if you're wondering, why does your room look so different? Well, because I'm not in my actual home. Good. Just a little heads up, people.
Don't forget, we have an official Instagram. It's a work in progress. But I'll hopefully upload more stuff to that here next week. That's the Walker Report _official over on the Insta Machine. I still do promos on TikTok. If you want a promo, hit me up on my Facebook page or email the show. You can email this show for comments, concerns, or questions to tell me about my attitude. That would be the Walker Report official, all lowercase, at gmail.com. Don't forget, you can find us on YouTube, The Walker Report, if you missed any of the show or you just want to watch it again over on YouTube in its entirety, directly following this show.
Yeah, thank you guys. Again, everyone that tuned in. Gerald, hopefully you feel better, but I honestly don't think your show sucks. I think you need to keep
Keep plugging away, brother.
Keep plugging away. You're going to have bad shows. We've had them on here before.
I've been there.
But anyway, we want to thank everyone that tuned in on Facebook, or like Adam said, the show will be live on YouTube as soon as the show is over. I have worked the books. I don't know when exactly this is going to happen, but I will have a future interview with Lauren Benedict. She's a rower for the University of Virginia Cavaliers. She's actually in the World Championship under 23 in Italy as we speak. I know her mom. I used to work with her. They won, I think Virginia won a national title or something similar to it. And I said, yes, we'll have her on the show. So down the road, we will have her on the show. Talking about rowing, I never thought that we would ever be discussing college rowing on the show, but we will be talking college rowing that night as well. Again, thanks everyone that tuned in. Thanks to the two guys that have made this show great, and stuff like that. It does help not to take a Thursday off when you can come on here and be on here with these guys, and Gerald as well. I know he's been on here the last few weeks, but him as well. We'll be back to the normal standard just talk show next week. And then the last week in July, we'll do the 2000 theme show before we hit August
that one.
and row into the football season as college
Nice.
football and NFL get ready to go. But then we'll be talking about that. Same time, guys, next week, 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. We want to thank our men and women of our armed services. Thank you for your service. Our first responders as well, thank you. We are sponsored by creatingzenspaces.com and Garrett's Carrots. Thank you guys for that. And again, guys, please go over to the NGSC or to the In the Zone. There's a bunch of good shows over there. I know Kevin mentioned that he wanted to go through all the shows, but they have a lot of good shows over there. Lou is part of that network as well.
Yep.
So is Gerald. Support them all, guys, because all their shows are great. Kevin's show that I started on to get this one is great as well. Until then,
And we
guys.
have openings on Friday night if you're looking for
Yes,
Which we
correct.
do.
an opportunity.
Until next week, guys, everyone, please stay safe out there. We love all you guys. I am the Sports Nerd. Thank you very much. Peace.
Cut, print, send it.
Good night.